All right, guys. Well, we are live here. Kind of getting in here early, let you guys look at the charts, kind of see the new setup here. Oh, I'm seeing that YouTube watermark is covering what I want. Okay, let me see if I can move that. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to try to move that so we're not blocking. Okay, how's that? That looks better. Okay. That way you guys can actually see. So the reason I decided to go on YouTube versus doing Discord again is because I couldn't show my charts, which you can see here, and I couldn't show also my entries at the same time. So I was trying to figure out the best way to go about that, and this seemed to be the best way. So this is kind of where we're at here. I'm just kind of getting set up, so jumped in here early so that way you guys could, you know, get acquainted and whatnot. So basically today's goal, pretty simple. I'm just, I'm just looking for $200 today. I have a pretty great setup for me today. Basically, my F accounts, I took my 9K payout on Thursday last week. So Friday was a good day. I hit my 200 goal in those accounts. That did allow me to be able to now shoot for 2 more days, Monday and Tuesday, of $200 a day, and then I can take out another 9K. So that's pretty cool. My funded futures, I have 2 of 5 days done, so I'm basically looking for 3 more days. Those accounts are, I would say, nice, but they're also a little bit more complicated because I don't have consistency and I don't have necessarily, well, I do have an end goal. Basically, my max payout is 50% of 6K, so 3K max per account. And I do have 5 accounts, but to shoot for 6K over the next 3 days would be really bold. That'd be about $1,300 per day for 3 more days. And for me, that's just a little bit more than I like to go for. I'm not saying it won't happen, but it is more than I want to go for. So just gonna kind of basically, I need at least $100 per day in those accounts. So we'll just kind of see how the next couple days go here, and if I can or cannot get what I want out of those accounts. But overall, that's kind of where I'm at today. Again, I'm more of a conservative trader. I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm not trying to be crazy or anything like that when I trade. So that's kind of where we're at for today. Can you guys, I'm assuming you guys can hear me because no one said you couldn't, but can you guys all see the charts okay? Can you hear me okay? Let me know in the chat just to make sure we're kind of all good there. At least one person would be great, just so I know that we're all set. Okay, sweet. Thank you, Grant. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of vibe here. I'm gonna give it another, I'm probably gonna push back the start time eventually to about 9:25. Really this 15 minutes that leads into market open is generally just me kind of getting the last minute final touches set up. So, you know, I'm gonna check where we closed out our final range on the 15-minute chart here, and kind of go from there. So that's kind of where we will end up here. That's probably the route I'm going to end up going. 15 minutes is a little bit too much spare time, and I hate to just sit here and not talk to you guys, and I also just hate to sit here and talk for no reason either. Neither are helpful to anybody. So, you know, just keep that in mind as the next streams get set up here. Probably going to, like I said, shoot for about 9:20, 9:25. So as of right now, though, you know, while we're talking about it, we do have a really nice range setting up here. we had a massive gap up overnight, which interesting enough, because the CPI yesterday will actually be the back-to-back gap ups on both both SPY and the Qs. So that's something to keep an eye on. Those gaps will eventually get filled. The question obviously would be, when do they get filled? But we'll just kind of see how that all plays out here. Hopefully you guys aren't too delayed either on the chart. I kind of did a test last weekend with John. He jumped in here with me, and we kind of did a latency test just to make sure that I was not talking and you weren't getting it at the same time, because obviously if we're live trading, that's not going to be very effective. So far it seems okay. If you guys happen to notice, like, I'm entering a position at a certain time, or I'm saying, hey, we're, like right now, I'm looking at NQ 5 minutes, we're 825.5. You know, if I'm calling that out and you guys aren't seeing that, and you're seeing that we're off by a little bit, let me know, so that way I can adjust maybe my latency settings, or try to just kind of see what I can do. I do have my stuff set to ultra low, so you should be able to get it pretty much live, but we'll just, again, kind of see how that plays out there. But I'm just going to take a little break from talking here. I'm going to try to move, I got to move a couple things around on my charts themselves, so that way I can see what I all want to see at the same time, and make sure I'm not missing anything from you guys. Also, I do apologize if my dog barks during the stream. She's really stupid. She likes to bark at everything and anything that walks by the house, so I'm sure you'll hear her at some point, unfortunately. But yeah, you guys will have to let me know what you guys think here about the YouTube Live. I'm definitely not going to do it every day. I'm guessing maybe like Mondays and Fridays, or maybe even Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. I'll probably try to get in at least 2 or 3 days a week, just to kind of switch it up and whatnot, to kind of, like I said, switch it up, kind of do something different. I do enjoy the Discord, and again, you know, it's nice just being able to chat in there. That's been going good for years now, so there's really no reason not to continue that. So we'll just kind of see how it goes here. I just wanted to trial this week and kind of see how that went. So. I'm going to make an adjustment on one of my windows on my actual computer. I don't think it's going to change anything on your end, but if you see the charts get goofy looking, let me know. But they shouldn't do that. But I'm running out of real estate, I should say, on my computer here, so I'm trying to fix that. So I can look at, basically trying to be able to look at the stream to make sure I'm not missing any of your chats, and then also trying to obviously look at my charts too. So because so on this window that you guys are seeing, this is a little bit of a different view than what I look at on my computer, and that's because okay, so it did change it on your guys' on your side. Okay, so I'm gonna undo that. But sorry. So again, the reason what I'm showing you here that you guys are seeing is a little different because you guys are looking at essentially just the chart. You're not looking at my indicators. I can't show my indicators, and I don't want to show my indicators. So it's a little bit different. So I kind of have to, I have three 34-inch ultra wides, and unfortunately I have to show basically the full window on both of them. So, and I want to be able to point on the actual one you guys can see versus the one I do. So it's kind of difficult, but over time I will. This will be more efficient, and we'll get it figured out here. So I'm gonna let me do something else here real quick. Oh, okay, I can do that. Okay. I'm learning as we go, so you know that's something to keep in mind. Learning as we go, learning with you guys. I really need that up, so let me put that over here. Okay, so now we're going to jump into it. Let me put out one more post on Discord here real quick. All right, here we go. So, big gap up overnight. Generally, the reason that I'm seeing is the China deal. They kind of backtracked, saying we are not going to do tariffs now. You know, who knows what actually happens or what they stick with, but as of now, that is what we are saying. So we have a little bit of a different setup here on both ES and NQ. So basically what I'm going to watch, and I like a good range. So if you remember on Friday when we were in the Discord, we didn't really have a range. We just kind of had, unfortunately, just a really weird move because of CPI. But right now on ES, you can see the 68.78 to 68.88. That's our range. So I'm watching that pre-market, and once market opens, I'm going to be looking to see if we're going to break out or break down. Now over here on NQ, we have 25.820 to really 25.846, but even a tighter range at 25.835. So essentially what I'm pretty much looking for as of right now, based on what I can see, is that when market opens here, it just opened, we might look for a move down to 25,792. However, as you can see, we just got a big old pop there. So that kind of negates a little bit. Man, that's a nice little pop there. So now you can see we already bounced straight back up to resistance. So here is where we're going to be patient. You know, we're waiting to see which way we go. Just because this first move is up doesn't mean we're going to continue up. But again, if we look at it here, you know, VIX is more or less flat. It's not really making a move up. It's not really making a move down. So no good move there. I don't see buyers or sellers really just flying in right now. So this move could get erased pretty quickly here. And as you can see, ES is coming up to 68.87, 68.88, and a big old rejection there. So I would not be surprised to see NQ reject back down to this 28.5, area. But this is where we're going to be patient. You know, wait for our 5-minute close. You know, if this is our 15-minute close above 25.846, that's a big bullish engulfing of not only our candle but our range, so we should see a pretty big breakout. So I do like that for, you know, the move to the upside. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that. You know, we're going to be patient. Like I said, if you guys weren't with me pre-market, I had a great week of trading last week. I got my payout, so now I'm set up on a really good path here. So I basically need 2 more days of $200 profit per day on FNF. I have 6 accounts with them. If I hit that $200 per day, I can take out another 9K. It will tank the accounts. Well, they'll have like $100 or $200 worth of drawdown left, but I would rather take my guaranteed 9K payout versus trying to push it for, you know, my normal $800 win per day. I would rather get the money. That would be 2 back-to-back payouts of 9K, so 18K on, you know, I spent whatever I spent on the accounts. It's a pretty good turnaround, or whatever we'll call it, return on investment. So I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna shoot for that. I'm just looking for 10 points basically on NQ. So that's something too I'm keeping in mind, is I'm not looking for a big play here. I'm just looking for that nice setup, the, you know, the double top, the double bottom, the retest, something like that to get in on. And I'm going to be patient. I don't want to get stopped out, because once you start getting stopped out your first play, then now you're looking at a 30-point play versus just a 10-point play. So we got to be patient. On my MyFunded Futures accounts, I have 5 of those. I completed 2 days last week, so I have 3 days left to get my payout. I did the Flex Core account, so essentially whatever profits I make, I can take 50% of that profit in payout, and then obviously they do an 80-20 split, which really does suck. 20% really is a big takeout, but it's still worth it. Those accounts are really cheap. They're only $77 a person, or a account. So that's a really good, nice setup there. So pretty much as of right now, if I just did my $200 per day, you know, I'd be looking at about $3,000 in profit. So about $1,500 per account, which that would get me down to, you know, let's see, if I had $1,500 per account times 5 accounts, that's about $7,500 in payout, and then, you know, you got your 80% takeout. So that's another 6K payout, looking potentially to come out on Wednesday. So again, I'm set up pretty nicely here. I'm not looking to go crazy, not looking to do anything too extravagant. So you're going to see me being pretty conservative the next 3 days here. Just looking for that payout. So as we're talking here, we have our 5-minute close about to happen right now, which I like to see. So over here on ES, this is a great example of our range holding. So ES is not breaking out, but at the same time, it's not breaking down. It's trying now, as I say that, it's turning down a little bit here. So this is a good rejection, and I really do think 68.80 will get retested. Moving over to NQ, I'm going to be looking for my short opportunity here. This is a really, really nice rejection. I would be careful, because if you see, we got 30 up to 60. So we have a 30-point wick here, basically now almost 40-point. So we got to be careful that we don't immediately shoot back up on the new 5-minute candle before coming lower. But as of right now, this is a good short opportunity, and they're really selling this down. So this is where I was saying that just because we break out initially doesn't mean it's going to stick. And right now, you know, VIX is, I don't know why, what has happened? For some reason, which is weird, I need to look into that. My VIX on here is not what I'm seeing on my other 15-minute chart, and I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. I will look into that later. I just noticed that, but as we're looking, so there's that big slap. Do expect a little bit of a mean reversion back up. So we have a nice resistance here at 25,824. We could come back up. I'm looking for a short. I'm not sure if I'm able to get into it now because it already kind of moved. I need a little fake move back to the upside here, and then here we go. Here's our fake move. So I'm going to be looking for a short opportunity here. Likely, we're going to come down to 25,777 area. You can't see it on the charts that I'm showing you, but VIX has a really big breakout right now too. So I'm going to go ahead and enter. Okay, so I am short. Again, I think you guys can see it now over on the live stream. See if I can find, yeah. So you can see I'm just looking right here. I just want my 10 points. And this gives us a good setup. If you see our stop out is basically 25,823.5, which is essentially right here at the top of this 5-minute candle. So either we're going to be faked out and this is going to reverse all the way back up to 25,846, or we're going to be correct and this is coming down to probably 25,777. So this is a good entry, good play here. It's pretty volatile. Okay, so there's the wick out. Unfortunately, that one did not play out for us. That was weird. Did we even touch 25? It says I got stopped out at 25,825, but I didn't even see us touch that level. So again, you know, I like the short. I think that was a good potential that we were going to see continuation down here. But however, now, once again, our range is holding. So we really just got some ugly wicks here, as you can see. So we're looking at a potential upside move back now. So ES is holding this 68.78 to 68.88 range. I mean, literally our candle wick is essentially the same whole width there. Now over here on NQ, you know, we did break through 25,820, so that was a good downside potential. However, you know, we also attempted to break out, so we're just kind of stuck here. And this gives us a really big 5-minute ORB. So really, you know, 25,860 and 25,814. Those are kind of our pivot levels that we're watching. So I'm going to be patient here. Not seeing a good move. Again, I don't know why the VIX is not showing correctly on this chart here. That is weird. Let me try something here. No. Okay, now it's showing. I don't know why that was happening with that. It was weird. All right. This is still not correct though. VX is correct, but that is not correct. I'm gonna try to get this to pull up correctly for us here. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that was malfunctioning, but now we go. You can see a little bit better what I'm looking at here. So, new 5-minute close here. So again, here's our ORB levels. You got that, 25,814 to 25,860. As you can see, we're just kind of maintaining inside of it. Even ES over here, it put in 68.88 and 68.82 right here. So we're just kind of stuck in these levels. So, excuse me, there's not a good move right now. We had our fake breakdown to the downside, so that generally opens up the potential of continuation. I mean, our trend, as you can see, is up, so I would generally expect it to keep going up, but again, we'll just kind of see where this goes here in a second. When I look at my buyers and sellers, we have a little bit of buying on NQ, but it's not really amazing. So it's nothing to really, I would be greatly looking at it to continue as higher. But then again, when I look at ES, we don't really have sellers either. So we're kind of stuck right here where it doesn't look like anybody's really fully participating yet. So again, one thing I am watching though, as you can see, is VX and VIX are both breaking out to the upside. And that's kind of where we took that short initially too, was that we were breaking out to the upside. So again, one would have expected us to continue lower. But as soon as we entered that short, they pretty much reversed the VIX back down. So we got to be careful here. What I'm looking for right now on this 15-minute candle close is if we can close under 68.81 and 25.814, I will again look for another short. That would be a close under our 5-minute ORB, and that would be a good downside move. However, if we close over that level, we probably will get another good long opportunity back to that 25.840 area. I just don't see a good continuation setup move right now on either chart. So I'm just kind of being patient here. You know, we already got one stop out. Again, we were looking for 200 bucks. You know, it just didn't work out that first play. So down a little bit to start the day, but not a big deal. You guys have any questions or anything I can answer for you guys about what I'm looking for, or what the charts say, or anything along those lines to kind of help you guys see what I'm seeing and whatnot? Pretty much open book. The only thing I really can't talk about, or I choose not to talk about, is just my actual indicators, just because they're proprietary. But other than that, I'm pretty much open to whatever you guys are interested in learning about or hearing about. So again, we still have about 2 minutes till close here, just under 2 minutes now. You can see where we're fighting at, which is on ES, that 68.78 to 68.80 range support. And then on NQ, we're trying to fight at basically 25.814 to 25.820, which again is range support. So it's really interesting for 15 minutes into the day here. We don't have really anybody on the 15-minute chart. It is just flat buyers and sellers. I mean, there's not anybody even really trying right now. To put it in perspective, the way I have my stuff marked out is there's pre-market strength, which is, let's call it level 1, and then level 2, which would be basically aggressive, which is usually when there's somebody finally going to get some continuation. And right now, we are not even halfway to pre-markets strength. So we're just kind of, nobody really is participating right now. So again, I think it's a good idea to just be patient. As you can see, lots of wicks right now too, lots of fake moves. So kind of see what we got here. So, and this is ugly on ES. So we just put a new demand in actually right here at 68.83. Now over NQ, we did move our demand down just a little bit to 25.816, which if you know that level, what level is that? That's basically right where our 5-minute ORB is. So there's a potential pretty good short opportunity off this 5-minute candle, off this range to come right back down here. However, I don't like it right now because we just got that bounce and we're bouncing off support. So there's a pretty good chance that we could come back up to 25.860 to retest. And with the new demand, the general idea is upside, not downside. There's small amount of buyers coming in now, but nothing really crazy, nothing that I'm like, oh, we should really be looking for a long. So again, man, we're just kind of stuck here. So we are coming down. So like I was saying, this was a short opportunity. You know, if you took it right here, you would have got maybe 10 points. But we really just need to see what happens right here at 68.81 and 25.816. You could use this as a long opportunity up to 25.860 because you can see we got a big bounce here and a big bounce here. So we should break out. And VIX is, VX is pretty flat. VIX is showing that there could be a double top lower, but I don't think it's an A+, just because we don't really have the buyers to support it. But I am looking for the move to 25.860 here. It's looking pretty good, but we'll just kind of see. Again, I don't think it's A+, so, you know, you might better take it, set your stop loss at, 25.820, and that gives you, it's a pretty good setup because you got 20 points of drawdown for about 20 points of upside. I like a good one-to-one play. That's kind of where I play. But now, again, if you assuming that range resistance of 25.846 is going to hold, you actually have a pretty good short opportunity here where you could set almost a 10-point stop loss and take the short down to 25.815. But I think the short is certainly less probable to hit. I just don't see a good play here. I think the short down here, that's the setup. You can see it. You know, you got the breakout, the rejection, and then boom, back down. It's there, but at the same time, there's no sellers. VIX isn't really moving in a favorable way either. So, and if you look at the 15-minute chart here, you can see more. This is a potential breakout. But it also actually sets up a double top. If you see the long wick here, this could be a double top lower. So again, kind of ugly, not a good play here. When I look at ES, I see that we're building out, again, range support. Massive doji candle here. Nobody knows which way we're going. And we really do kind of have the same 5-minute rejection potentially lower here. But as you see, it's funny because VIX is actually being rejected lower here. But at the same time, that downside move is kind of starting to play out. So again, just not a lot of congruence with the technicals to really get a solid play here. Okay, we got about a minute to close here. With the rejection still off 25.846, the downside does look good still. But It's just not A plus. You know, you got ES still holding that range support, and we're really still fighting the EMAs here in NQ for support too. All right, well, there's your breakdown. So if you had chosen the short with the 10-point stop loss, you would have won. If you would have chosen the long, you would have lost. Which is interesting because honestly, I really would have thought the long would have won there. But we did play out the double top, so there it is. You know, like I said, they got that long wick. There's the double top, and here's that 25.816 retest. So, you know, we're right there where we're trying to pick a direction. VIX is trying to break out, but we don't have it. You know, we're just stuck in 5-minute ORB here. And if I have learned anything over the last couple weeks is to wait for the 5-minute ORB. That is critical. That is key. A lot of times we will see, as you can see with these big old wicks. I mean, you got a big wick below, and then you have your first wick here. You know, we're just ranging. If you really zoom out, I mean, this is all the way back till about 5:30 this morning. This is the same range. So now we're making a convincing argument that we're going to go lower, but I really, really want to see that 5-minute close under 25.816 or 814. If we get that, we will likely see on this 15-minute close, the final 5 minutes of this 15-minute close, we will likely see that move back down to 25.777. But of course, there it is. There's the bounce right off ORB support. So, you know, there's just not a good. There's no continuation. This is just going everywhere. VV, you are so correct, man. They've just been. This is how it's been. I've gotten burnt too many times in shorts like this where they're sitting there, they're like, oh yeah, this is the breakdown, and then nope, straight reverse. I mean, that was instant right there, just reversed out of nowhere. I'm liking this ES reversal though. You know, this supports that we're making demand, we're making support, we're going to bounce. I really do think ES is probably going to go up to 68.88. And if we do that, we should see 25.860 on NQ. We do have a decent entry and a long here. Not sure I want to take it. The reason is we don't have buyers. So this is one of those times where you know the move is there, but there's nobody supporting this. So I think what the way to think about this right now is that wherever way this is going can easily be, as we just saw, reversed in an instant. There's not buyers to really continue to hold this to the upside, and there's really not sellers to continue to push this lower. You know, we're actually pushing up right now with buyers kind of fading out. So again, that's a good indication that this is probably going to get rejected. But you don't want to be on the wrong side of the rejection, and you don't know which side is going to reject when there's no support. So even VX and VIX, you can see they don't know what they're doing either. They're sitting there trying to reject, but they're not really. Ultimately, the best move for me right now is to wait for this 5-minute level to break right here. Wait for that to break. Once that breaks, right here. Once those break, that's probably when we're finally going to see continuation. And right now, again, this support tells me that likely it's going to be to the upside, but I don't want to be early on that, and I don't want to get caught on a fake upside move either. Okay, less than a minute till this 5-minute close. We're going to see where we go here. So we did get the nice potential push up here on ES, so that starts to support the upside. But again, on ES, there's even less buyers on ES than there is on NQ. So I trust this upside far less than I would trust NQ's upside. NQ, we do have a nice little bounce here and bullish engulfing. I do think we're going to go up here and touch 25,860. Even the 15-minute is recovering for a potential breakout. Again, man, I would just really like to see some buyers to support this move, though. And I hate to be early trying to break this overnight range of 25,846 also. So I'm going to sit patient. But my bet would be if you set a stop loss at 25,835 and took a long up to 25,860, it's probably going to hit. But that is not my setup. That's not my A+. So I am being patient for that to play out here. I'm going to step out for just a second. I'm just going to mute my mic here. Potentially if I can figure out how to do that. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, man, again, I kind of like the upside, or I mean the downside here. I mean, you know, it does look like we are going to see that rejection right here of 25,846, but again, none of these are my A+. I'm just kind of calling out what I see here. Appreciate that, ZK. Yeah, I mean, this is a hard day to trade already, I will say. You know, this is a day where if you start pushing buttons, you're going to get chopped up real fast here. You really got to wait for all signs to fire on one cylinder, or all cylinders to fire, and man, it's just not. So, but you know, it's only 30 minutes into the day. I don't think we have any data this morning. Let me double check. I got messed up on that. No, there's absolutely nothing on the schedule for today, which is cool. So okay, so we're pushing. So this is a good recovery, though. You know, again, this is at 25,846. We really do have ORB up to 25,860, so that is something to keep in mind, but the range it would be breaking. Now over here on ES, same thing, 6888 is our resistance, and then that's also where our ORB is. So ES is playing along. We're in congruence, which I like, and even VX and VIX are in congruence for an upside move here too. So I'm starting to like the idea of a potential long on this new 15-minute candle. However, we still don't have aggressive buyers. NQ buyers are slowly ticking in. We're crossing over pre-market aggressiveness, but we're still not at a level where I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to rocket here. So just kind of sitting patient and see what our next candle brings here. Why did that just open? I didn't even click that. All right, so we broke range finally, so that is a bullish sign. Our EMA support is coming up. We have not broken ORB resistance, though, 25,860, so this is a rejection spot still. Over here on ES, same thing. We basically put it in a higher support area of 68.83, and now we're boom, right up to resistance and range resistance of 68.88 on both the 5 and 15 minutes, so that is not a good long opportunity in my opinion. VX is starting to want to turn down, so that is good for the downside. Looking at VIX here, we're potentially going to be seeing a pop up here on VIX, which would be, again, a downside move for the market. So I'm sitting patient. I really do think, as you're about to see right there, play out this rejection. If we can get a back test off maybe 25,830 with like a solid double bottom on the 5 minute, I might take a long. But man, the other issue here is even if we were to take a play, I don't see a big move. I don't see something where I think I would even really get 20 to 30 points, you know. So being patient. Patience is always good. Okay, here's our test on 25,860. Nice little pop there. Nice long wick. But again, ES is not really joining in on this party. It's trying to, I will say, but it has not officially joined in. So in 3 minutes, if this candle closes over 25,860, and preferably ES closes over 68.88, likely we will see a nice long, and it probably could go up as high as 25,905 and 68.94. So we're setting ourselves up here for a really nice breakout, but I don't want to be early. That is for sure. Nothing in this market says be early right now. ES starting to join in here now. Our buyers on NQ are actually looking really, really good. So if this 5 minute can close here in under 2 minutes, that will be our long op. This is what we're looking for. This is a good move. This is a great bounce off EMA support right here too. So I'm being patient. I'm seeing the long, but I'm going to wait for my entry, which is usually the 5 minute close. And then hopefully we can, wherever we close here is whatever. We're just going to look for that back test off of 25,860 to then go long. But here's a nice push. This is a really nice push. It's nice to see ES and NQ finally moving together. There's been so much divergence with them lately where it's been super hard to know who's actually right and who's going to win. So big close here, less than a minute. Again, 68.88 and 25.860. That's my levels that we want to watch here. Once that closes, we're going to look for a quick little slap down on a back test, and then we're going to try to go long. Okay, so here's our close. Boom, we're over ORB. Boom, we have buyers. VIX is coming down. VIX is a little bouncy, so we gotta watch that. I want to see a back test off 25,860 and 68.88 for me to go long. That would be my long entry. We might not get it. It might just straight pump here. But for me, I need the back test because the odds of it back testing are very high. And realistically, we could even come down somewhere in this to 25,855 before we see the breakout. So you don't want to get stopped out and be right because you were too early on the candle. So I'm waiting for my back test here. If you're super spicy, you could play a quick little short here, set it tight with your break, your stop loss right here. Probably going to get, maybe 10 points on it, but again, why does it keep popping up like that? But you got to be careful. It is interesting to me that VIX is still bouncing, though. Not sure what's going on with that. So we did touch 25,860 there. Not sure it's enough just yet, but we're watching. And VIX is still going up, which is weird. All right.
Order filled.
I took the long. I'm in. Gonna set a tight stop loss though. If we get our breakout, again, 25,905, that's kind of my target of where I'm looking for here. So I set my stop loss basically right at that 25,860. I'm just looking for this 5-minute candle to hold its support. We might get stopped out here, but I'm okay with this, like a 10-point stop out on this potential breakout here. So I'm not really sure why VIX keeps pushing up here. It's kind of an interesting move, but we'll see how this plays out here.
Order filled.
All right, I actually doubled up on cons here. I really like this breakout, so I'm going to play it. So I'm looking for about a 20-point move here. I got a 10-point stop loss set, so it's still my normal dollar amount loss. If I take this L, it'll be a $400 loss. So I'm okay with that. Buyers look good though, so I do like the upside. Got a minute to close here. We didn't get the reversal, so that should give continuation to the upside here. We'll just kind of see how this plays out. Again, not sure what VIX is doing there with that push to the upside, but I'm okay with this long here. It looks good for me so far. Nope, there's the reversal. So what they end up doing there real quick at the end, they gave us a doji reversal. Nothing you can do there. Now we are honestly starting to look like maybe a failed breakout here. I might actually jump into a short here. Yeah, I'm going to take a short.
Order filled.
So the reason I'm taking this short is you can see we got the doji reversal. VIX has this big pop here, so it does show some downside. And also, our 15-minute is failing to break through ORB, and it looks like even on ES here, we're going to fail to take out this upside here. So this could be a pretty big rejection to the downside that's forming right now. So I'm happy to be in on this short here. Again, I could add risk on, and that would put me, pretty much about my normal 10-point stop, but I'm going to hold and just play one play here. I'm down 800 right now. My 50K accounts only have a 2,000 of drawdown, so I got to be careful once I start getting to this area here. 2 stops in a row usually means I'm not reading the market perfect, so I'm trying to figure out, or trying to be cautious here. But I do like the play. I'm going to hold it and see what we get here. And we have a great stop loss at high day here, so, but they might have just faked us out hard to the downside. We'll see here in a second. Buyers did break down though, so again, not much support to the upside here. Ideally, this 5-minute candle is going to close back under 25,860 and 68,888. 68,888, yeah. And that will give us then our potential move really down to 68,881 and 25,814. Not sure if we get that low, but it's certainly a potential that we could get down there. But going back to that last play, you saw I added a second con. So basically, my stop loss is $400. Whichever way it comes about, if I want to add two cons, then I can get still about 10 points of stop loss for 400. I will do that. Sometimes I will do the full 800 on two contracts for 20-point stop loss. 20 points is my stop loss. Usually, I don't like to go anything over that. Usually, that means I'm wrong. And then take profit just kind of varies. I usually shoot for 20 points, but sometimes I'll shoot for 40 or a little bit higher. It really just depends on what my drawdown is, how much profit I need, and kind of what play I'm looking for. Like this morning when I was only looking for $200, that's obviously going to be my take profit because that's all I need, and that that's where I want to be. Well, really, really tough close here. So as you see, we closed right on ORB support for both of these. So this could pop right back to the upside. But again, it's tough because 15-minute also did not close over. So that gives us a good rejection here. And even on ES, we did actually break it. But this massive wick here shows that we're probably going to come back down. So I think I'm going to just hold my short here. There's no real good buyers to support the upside. VIX and VX both pop to the upside too. So I think I'm going to just let this play out, kind of see what the market does here. We have seen time and time again these massive failed breakouts like this in the morning too. So with the ginormous gap down below to fill, would not be surprised if this just went on a massive face drop here. So I'm just going to sit patient and kind of see where we go here. I do have a pretty generous stop loss, or sorry, not stop loss, take profit down here, and that's just because I'm down 800, and I do think we could get a big drop. So, but as of right now, I don't see a reason to exit my short at break even, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to lose either, because as you can see, this could pop right here, boom, right back to the upside to all-time highs, or not all-time highs, high a day here, but again, you got VX pushing up, you got VIX pushing up. We have no buyers. We got a big rejection on 15-minute ORB. ES also rejected to the upside and is trying to break down. So this is kind of that bounce or die situation. If I had sellers here, I would 1000% add a second contract, but I just don't feel comfortable just yet in adding my second contract, but I do feel comfortable in moving my stop loss down though. So here we are, we're testing 5-minute 20 support and 15-minute 5 EMA support. This is bounce or die. If this does not bounce, as you can see point of control right here too, this is going to be a big drop and most likely down to at least 5,816. Okay, VIX and VX, boom, big push here. I'm holding. This is a nice play. Not quite ready to set break even. Now I'm ready to set break even. Okay, so this is a free play. I like the downside. I'm not adding a contract. I'm just holding. You know, I could take about 15 to 20 points right here and knock off some of my drawdown, or not my drawdown, my redness on the day, which I guess you could call it drawdown, whatever. But I see a bigger play, so I'm going to hold for now until something changes, especially since it's essentially a free play. I'm happy to hold this. Again, I still think 25,814 at least is going to get retested here. ES is leading the downside. VIX and VX are pushing. There's that cash register down. Whenever you hear that, that's a good thing. So we have a 5-point stop out right now. So no matter what we win here, we're going to get rid of some drawdown. But I really think this is going to see a nice push down lower here. But we might get stopped out before it does that. We'll just have to see. This is pretty much hanging on by a thread right now. Okay, new 5-minute candle's about to open. This is where you got to be careful. These new 5-minute candles like to get big bounces and big moves. We might get a quick flash to the downside in the 5-minute candle where we might be able to take profit real quick before it reverses back. We are holding EMA support pretty well here, so the chances of a reversal higher, unfortunately, is a little bit higher than I'd like to be. I'd like to see us close. Okay, there we go. That's better. I'll take that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to set a 10-point stop loss. And let me go ahead and lock in a 15. just in case we bounce here. Probably going to bounce, I'm guessing, but we're going to lock in a stop loss. 20-point stop loss or break even, whatever. Great play here. We're coming down. Again, I think the 5 minutes going to pop, but we're going to hold it and see if we can get a little bit more out of this. So oddly enough, all my other followers just stopped out at that wick, but this account is still in. Oh, what? There we go. Okay, so 20-point win. We're back in the game here. That's a good win. I'm happy with that. I'll take that every day of the week. Now the question becomes, are we going to bounce off this support and boom, push right back up, or are we starting a reversal lower? I do think we're still going lower here, but I am going to be patient. I'm not taking another entry just yet. But we do have a good stop loss right here at 25,844 if we were to. But shorting into EMA support, and as you see, look where ES came right back down to, and look where it bounced right off of. 68.81, that 5-minute ORB. We do have sellers now, though, so that is something to note. We have not seen those yet today, so that's big. I don't like shorting into ORB support or EMA support, though, so I'm a little worried to short right here, but I do think we're going to get this 25,814. Another good play that might play out is we hold this here and coming back up to this level on the next 5-minute candle and double top back down. That would be an excellent entry for a short, to be completely honest. VIX is really popping right now. Look at that. All right, I'm back in. I'm going to take the short. I'll take the risk. So I need about 25,791 to hit my daily goal, which that is right about that 25,792. And I do think we're going to get it. We got another 5-minute close coming here. I would like to see ES break through this 68.88, and I would like to see NQ close under 25,814, and we should really see a pretty big reversal. But if you look at this 15-minute candle, this is a nice bearish engulfing, massive rejection here. So again, this is set up with VIX pumping to the upside. This is set up for a really good downside move, and we'll just have to see if it plays out here again. As VV so kindly pointed out this morning, these downside moves are failing, unfortunately, pretty quickly though still. But it looks like VV, you're short from 855. That's a good short entry. My original short was 857, so. Okay, new 5-minute candle's about to come. I do think we'll get some downside continuation here. I still have a good stop loss here at 25,846, so I'm content with that. ES with a bit bigger of a pop than I was looking for there, but I'm okay with it. I'm still short. Still content with this short for now. So this is our bouncer die right here. So this is our stop out, but right here we got to touch this and reject lower, or this is going higher. But this is that double top I was talking about. I'm just hoping it doesn't stop us out before it plays out.
Stop fill.
And it stops us out before it played out. That's okay. I like the short. You know, again, you got to play it when you see it. So. Certainly a choppy morning here, though. We do still have some sellers. I do think we're going to get a big rejection lower here. VIX is still pushing towards a high day, so.
Order filled.
Okay, I am short. I took it. See if we can get a big slap down here. I like the back test and rejection. The nice double top is playing out. It's trying to play out here. We have sellers. VIX and VX are pushing up. I'm looking for 25,815 here before this 15-minute candle closes. I did move my stop loss, so my stop loss is right here. Pretty much if we break through 25,847, it's probably going to pump pretty hard to the upside, so that's a good stop loss.
Stop fill.
And there's the stop out. Man, that was a shitty fill. Crappy fill, sorry. Crappy fill. Okay, so I did get stopped out there. Unfortunately, that was, I only had like, I think 11, or let me see what I had left there. Yeah, I had about 1,200 of drawdown total on my FNF accounts, and unfortunately that was all that she wrote for those accounts, so we'll look to do some evals later, tomorrow maybe, to get those back. But right now I still have my funded futures account, so we're gonna look for a push here and see what we get. Just brutal move there. You know, we had the setup. VIX is still pushing to the upside here, which is weird. You know, it's odd. We didn't really have sellers, but man, look at that. We just straight came back up, goofy close on this. I mean, look at this wick right here. This is, I mean, abnormal to say the least. But it is what it is. Just did not play out what I was looking for there. But this ORB breakout here on the 5 minute, it does open up a pretty good opportunity for an upside move on ES and NQ here. We have a little bit of 5 minute buyers that came back in, but nothing really significant. We did move our supply up here slightly on ES to 68.88. So again, that's a big level to watch. With the failed breakdown here, again, you got to assume we're going to go to the upside. So I'm going to go ahead and take the upside play here. I don't have too much drawdown left, so we're just letting it play out and see how this goes here. You know, whether we win or lose, you know, not every day is going to be a winning day. This market is hard to trade. You know, I blow accounts. Everybody blows accounts. It is what it is. But, you know, risk management is key. You know, that's why I use prop firms, is because, you know, if this was a real account or a broker account, this would be a much more bloody, painful day to take in versus, you know, you blow a couple accounts and you go spend a couple $100 to get them back. So, you know, it sucks, but it's part of the game. So we're just going to see how this plays out here. I am still looking for the upside. But then again, so, you know, it's just tough here because ES is rejecting. So you would think this big wick, we're going to see the move double bottom to the upside here. But again, they just keep sending this VIX up here. So now ORB is our bounce spot, but we'll see if it actually bounces or not. So if I get stopped out here, it is what it is, but that'll probably be the end of these accounts too, unfortunately. Okay, so buyers are still coming back in. We had a nice recovery off ORB there. Oh, there we go. So nice little slap to high day there. Again, 25,905, that's kind of our target here on the upside. So let's see what we get continuation-wise here. ES looks like it's finally going to play that double bottom out with us. So let's see if we can get the breakout here. So this was generally the move I thought was going to happen here. So we did get that wick, but I thought this could have been our bounce here. Usually once you close over like this, usually that ORB level is going to get continuation. So, you know, it does have a failure rate. I think when I back tested it like a year or two ago, it was like an 80% success rate of continuation. So it's a pretty high rate, but it does fail. So, you know, again, let's see if we can get this bigger breakout here. We are only at about 180 point range on NQ, and ES is only seeing 27 points. So to put that in perspective, on ES, that's only 31% of the 10-day average range, and on NQ that's 44% of the 10-day average range. So pretty tight move right here. And even when we look at IV, you know, we're about 50% of the move on ES, and on NQ we're sitting at maybe like 60%. So we got about another 100 points of upside for the IV expected move, or implied vitality expected move. But I do like continuation. Finally getting a VIX rejection. VX is looking to come down. We got our breakout, our back test, and we should, again, see upside. Even 15-minute, we've, in an ugliest possible way, closed over, back tested, and boom, there's our breakout to the upside. ES is struggling a little bit comparatively, so we still need that 68.88 closure, but I do like the upside move here. So I'm content holding. I'm going to just kind of hold and see if we can get a breakout here. I'm going to go ahead and set a break-even stop. The ES is pushing through. There you go. They're filing through. ES should come up to probably 68.94. Again, we still have about 20 more points to my target at 68.905. ES struggling though. Still struggling at 68.88. That's a big level for ES. VV, are you still short, or did you flip long? Got about 2 minutes to close here. I really would like to see ES close over this 68.88. I do think that will bring the upside, so it's a good entry, VV. That's almost exactly where I entered at. So you have a level you're looking for. 905 is still kind of my breakout level I have. But I do think ES might, unfortunately, make this might bring NQ back to 25.860 before that happens. But again, I got a break-even set, so I'm content holding. Don't see enough just yet to close it. There's still good buyers on NQ. ES is kind of the only thing holding us back right now, honestly. Okay, about a minute to close here. See if the ES can get that about 2 more points push up. Well, ES failing there. Interesting. So ES actually did fail here, so we could potentially see a big rejection here on NQ. I'm going to go ahead and move my stop loss up just in case. This could be a failed rejection here on ES. NQ still looks really strong. We still have good buyers. VX and VIX are still rejecting, so that still plays out good to the upside. But I don't love that ES still rejected here because this is still holding range. But ES is push, or NQ is going for the push here though, so we'll see if they can get a big pop. Maybe ES just had a fake rejection and it's going to go. But either way, you know, I got about 8 point stop or take profit here. No, about 9 point take profit. So overall, not bad. So there's the potential rejection playing out here on NQ now. Ooh, they brought that right down to our stop loss. One tick from it, but did not hit it. ES looks good now, though. That's a good fake pop or recovery. That 68, man, that 68.88 level is just tough for ES. It's still just that classic bounce or die here, unfortunately. You know, ES has that level. NQ looks better. They could take this again down to 25,860 for a back test and then push it up. But the NQ breakout does look good. We got a great stop loss here. You know, it gets it back a little bit of a recovery, make it not so much drawdown to fight back through. So I'm gonna hold where we're at and just see how this plays out here. See if we can break through high day. Again, high day, or not high day, IV implied says that we have about another 100 points of upside. So again, I'm not holding for 100 points of upside. I'm just saying it does say that we have that potential. Alright, ES is going once again for 68.88. Let's see if we can get this closed. Less than a minute here. See what we get. Okay, new 15-minute candle here too, and the ES is getting its closure. Okay, there we go. So ES is about to get its close right here over. This should see continuation to 68.94 on ES, and likely again 25,905 on NQ. There is a chance that we come back down to 25,871 first for a back test. As you can see, that's kind of been the theme, is the back test to 5 EMA first. But I'm going to go ahead and again hold kind of where I'm at. I think I'll move up to officially a 10-point stop loss just to be safe for profit wise. But overall, I like to hold. I'm holding. Especially now that ES finally is joining in. The buyers on ES are joining in too. You see we got the rejection here in VIX. This should send this candle back down. And hopefully that will be, again, open up our opportunity for further upside here on NQ. I have a pretty generous take profit setup here. And the reason for that, I'm going to go ahead and move up to about a 15-point break even here. Okay, glad I did. We just got hit, which is good. I'll take that profit. So takes back a little bit of our loss again that we can try to hopefully continue to recover here. So this looks like where we're going to come back down, like I was saying, to back test this EMA support right at 25,870 first here. ES is still just, I mean, look at this range here. You know, really 68.90 to 68.86, a 3-point closing range right here since 10 o'clock. That's pretty tough. So, you know, ES is just stuck. Okay, so our buyers are starting to waver a little bit here. And that, man, VIX. So it's interesting here because if you, I mean, VIX is still, I mean, if you look, this is our NQ 15-minute trend. I mean, we're trending up on NQ, and since open, we're trending up on VIX. So bit interesting divergence there. You know, we do have FOMOC on Wednesday, so maybe some of it is just a little bit of added risk off, you know, from the market, or a little added protection. But it does make it tough here because obviously you want to see everything in congruence, but it's not really happening. And obviously the downside moves are failing quite rapidly here on NQ and ES. So it's hard to get a good play right now. So EMA support is holding. We got a new 5-minute candle about to start. We might get a nice 5-minute double bottom long opportunity here to play to the upside. I'm just going to see kind of where we close. I don't, again, love that the buyers are kind of breaking down though. And on ES, we never really hit that aggressive level that I was looking for either. And then VIX, of course, is pushing to the upside. and I did miss updating, is there was a new demand here. So you can see how tight this range is here on ES. And VIX is still going up. It's brutal, brutal, ugly movement this morning. Well, we're coming right back down to 25,860. ES once again with the failed breakout to the upside. Tough to trust this downside because look at all these wicks to the downside here in ES. There's really no reason to trust that we're going to continue lower. But at the same time, look at VIX. VIX is pushing up. VIX is trending up. So who do you trust when you don't have buyers? You have the VIX moving up, but price action wants to move higher. And VX and VIX, so they're making that move. They're pushing. There's 25,860 tested on NQ. Nice wick off of it. $68.81 is that key level on ES. So kind of what we're looking at here is $68.81 on ES and $25,860 on NQ. Those are kind of the levels that seem to congruent together. So those are kind of our bounce or die levels. Again, it's tough to trust the downside because obviously we are continuing to push to the upside. But as you see, we're getting a nice reversal, and I mean VIX is pushing. VIX is pushing to the upside pretty good here. So this next 5-minute candle close here, it could open up an opportunity for more downside. Okay, there's 68.81. See if we bounce or not there. Seems trappy right now to want to go short. EMA support, I mean, this could be this move right here playing out again, though, where we get the breakout, rejection, backtest EMA support, and boom, pop back to the upside. So that played out here on ES also. So I'm not really thinking the short is going to play out here. And there's that. Again, 25,860 looking good. 68.81 looking good. VIX though, man, I don't know. Pushing up. Certainly no buyers though, so Tough decision. If we break above 25,877, likely we're going back up. And there she goes. But man, as soon as it breaks out though, boom, VX high day. Pushing right up. VIX pushing up. Like I said, I'm just being patient right now. I just don't see another A+ entry. You know, been a rough morning. Kind of back-to-back stop out and then take profit, back-to-back stop out, hit profit. So trying to be patient, trying to find a good entry here, trying to recover my losses. So dog's probably going to start barking here in a second. No. But yeah, I mean, it's part of trading though. You know, I had a good week last week. Took a payout, so super happy about that. Got no issues with that. So you know, it's part of, like I said, it's part of real trading. You know, I know on a lot of people's streams they don't show that. Oh, I took a loss today. Oh, I blew out a account today. They just show you when they win big and when they hit the profit. So that's not going to be the case for my streams. We'll show you the good and the bad, show you how we recover, show you how we don't recover sometimes. So just kind of show you it all. That's funny, Sean. I didn't know. I was wondering how good the sound was, if it would pick it up or not. Starting to test again, 25,860. Does open up the possibility that we could get a short. This is a really nice rejection here on this 15-minute candle here. Generally, I'd like to see the close under 25,860 and preferably under 68.81. Not sure we're going to get it or not. Not sure I want to jump in here before close to find out either. But this should be a reversal to the downside playing out right now. That we should see continuation on the next candle. So I will look to enter short again. So our new supply is going to be right there at 25,890, and then we are going to move this supply up to 68.90. So shows you exactly where we're rejecting at. Okay, so here's our close on NQ coming up. VIX still pushing up, so you know, again, still looks good for downside here. Okay, so here's our close. Closed under and then boom, instant pop off of the EMA. So that's where it's tough because, you know, we are losing the breakout, but then you're boom, you got EMA support trying to hold us right there. So same thing with point of control. So this could end up being a nice pop to the upside here, but it's tough because, again, there's no buyers. VIX and VX are pushing up, so that favors the downside. We even have sellers on ES and NQ. Again, granted, they're tiny, but they are sellers. And we just got a bearish engulfing 15-minute candle on both ES and NQ. So the favor really is the downside, but as you can see, they do not seem to want it to go that direction. I really don't see a reason to take a long here. ES, this is a great short. If you set your stop loss at like 68.85, I think that's a good short opportunity. It's a good question, Sean. I don't know if this is a trend day. I mean, yeah, we're going up slowly, but we're really just kind of ranging. So it's tough to say. Tough to say for sure. Yeah, VIX is low. I mean, 16s is pretty good in general for being at all-time highs. Generally, I would like to see it more close to like 13 or 14, but it is low, and it is red on the day. Well, if ES plays out a double bottom right here too, that should probably bring us back up to 25,890 here on NQ also. It looks like we're just going to end up turning this into a failed breakdown. No problem, Sean. I'm happy to help. Happy to teach you guys whatever you guys want to learn about. ES is not so strong, though, that's for sure. Nice recovery here, though, for bulls. Which is crazy because, again, there's just not really support. I mean, it's just pushing up. I mean, it's pushing up against the VIX, so against resistance, I would say. And then there's not really the buyers here, especially on ES. I mean, ES never really on buyers or sellers broke pre-market strength. So nobody's really doing anything on ES right now. NQ, we have some buyers, and they were really strong for a couple minutes there. But, again, it's... man, tough and choppy day this morning, that's for sure. So now 25,890, we just touched it. We have a nice wick off it already. So this could turn into a nice 5-minute double top back lower. ES never really broke through 15-minute 5 EMA either. VIX and VX are still trending up. So again, there's really not a good A+ setup here. Okay, 5-minute candle here. I do like the double top rejection here. I do think we could go up maybe like 25,885 first, and then we'll see the double top back to 25,860. But as you can see here, ES is already playing it out. So ES is holding its rejection of the recovery here. NQ is holding its double bottom recovery. So again, nice divergence here, but there's really just not the support for the upside. So we're gonna watch 25,890 here. I would not find this as a long entry, just because there's not really the support for the buying here. I'm gonna go ahead. ES is saying that this is gonna still reject lower, so I still like my 5-minute double top rejection here. So watching that, thinking about a short here.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Yeah, I went ahead and took it. So again, looking for the 5-minute double top, at least back down to 25,860. Again, you see ES here. If it can break through 68.81, this is going to likely see 68.78. NQ, I think we could get back down to 25,840. So again, keeping our eyes closed there. Sean, for buyers and sellers, I have an indicator that kind of measures it. It's like 3 or 4 different things that go into essentially a bar graph that kind of measures from candle to candle, whatever time frame I set it at, if it's getting stronger, weaker, or staying the same. So I just kind of use that in addition to price action and VIX to determine which direction we're going. So again, ES is playing the rejection here. So I do like our rejection. See if NQ can play it out with us here. So I'm gonna go ahead and set our stop loss just above high day here. Okay, nice start to a rejection here. There's again 68.81, major level. Again, VIX, look at VIX. It is just going up. VX going up. I mean, there's just no, this is just setting up for one of those big rejections to the downside, that's for sure. Whenever you push up during the market like this, without support from buyers, and against the VIX and the VX, it just sets you up for failure. For the market for failure, but also it sets up traders for failure because you can't get a solid A+ play. Okay, so we got our doji rejection here. Again, this should turn us down to the downside. This should be a failed recovery, rejection off resistance and supply to come lower. Here on ES, I would have liked to have seen that 68.81 closure under, but if you come to the 15-minute candle here, again, we are still rejecting the breakout, or the recovery rather, and this is still saying downside continuation to probably 68.77. We'll see what our 15-minute candle here in NQ closes as. But with VIX and VX pushing up again, I can't justify a long. I just can't do it. I might be wrong. I might be right. We'll see how this plays out here. VX is still trying to push up too, so again, not really the support for the upside. If this 25,889 can hold as resistance here, I do think we're going to play out a double top here in 3 minutes on NQ to the downside. The question is if we're going to get swept out on our stop loss first.
Stop failed.
The answer is yes, we will. Well, again, though, I mean, nothing you can do there when this doji plays out. I mean, if you should see, again, the continuation of the downside. You know, here on ES, we were rejecting the EMA support resistance. We had just failed back through support. It's just one of those mornings where things are just not playing out nicely, that's for sure. I almost moved my stop loss up to 97, give me the full 20 points, but I figured if it breaks through here, we were going to go all the way up. So we'll just kind of see where this next 15-minute candle goes, I guess. But we're back into some pretty big red drawdown here. So again, trying to be patient, trying to see if this market can actually give us some sort of decent continuation move, because it has done everything but that. This has been very choppy. Well, looking at this close here, it looks like we're going to try to close back over resistance. So, nice doji rejection here on VX and VIX. Yeah, BB, I agree. This is just, I mean, this is kind of like last week's price action where it was just all over the place. So we did get a new demand here on NQ. Let's see. So generally speaking here, you would expect, based off of NQ, that we're going to come back down to probably 25,880. That's our 5 EMA, and then hopefully we'll see a push to the upside. VIX and VX are trying to reject, so that does support some of that upside. And then looking over ES here, again, 68.82, that held nicely. So we're just a little bit under our ORB of 68.88. So again, might come back down to point of control of 68.84 before we go higher. You know, you could play the double top. So as you see, we've kind of been breaking out, double topping, breaking out, double topping. And that double top is here on ES. But, and there's that failed move to the downside on VX and VIX. So it's tough, you know, seeing good continuation. I'm just still watching here. I just don't see. I'm just trying. I just don't see a good play here. So the rejection's there. There's a short opportunity for sure. You know, do we go down to 25,866? Do we just immediately recover like all these other candles? It's hard to say. You know, it kind of looks like we're starting to play out this move right here again, where we kind of break out and get a big rejection, go back down and then push up. So it's tough, honestly. To kind of see where we're going here. But I do think I'm going to wrap up the stream. Just, it's getting late in the day. I don't usually trade this late anyways. So, you know, not the way we wanted it to go. But, you know, it's part of trading. It's, you know, it's real trading. You know, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. You know, I'll be trying to get back on probably Wednesday, maybe Friday. Just kind of see how the week goes. I think Friday, actually, I'm going to be out of town, so not Friday. I'll shoot for Wednesday then. So, but I'll be in the daily chat for a little bit here, but I'll see you guys later.